So when drawing the torso, it's good to think of it in terms of all the parts of the body between the shoulders and the hips. So the width of the shoulders and size of the hips really define what the torso is going to look like, and then the rest of the parts we just fill in the middle. Male or masculine torsos, the shoulders are going to be quite wide and the hips are going to be relatively smaller, and it's the opposite for female torsos. We've got a narrower shoulder frame and wider hips. So the rest of the anatomy just sits inside that frame, the pectorals, abdomen, lats, etc. Now, the most prominent muscle group on the front of the chest is the pectoral muscles or chest muscles that sit between the collarbone and the abdomen, but also are framed by the lats on the side. The upper corners of the pecs connect under the shoulder, and be careful of a common mistake that a lot of newer drawers draw is they'll draw the chest muscles all the way out to the side, to the very edge of the chest, which is not correct. The lats usually come out from the side and around, and the shoulders kind of cap off the top over it. When drawing figures moving, the chest and torso are going to follow the movement of the defined by the backbone, which usually is also the line of action. And again, we start with the shoulders and then the hips, and then what orientation the shoulders and hips take should then naturally define how the torso is going to move. Note that even though the hip bone itself is quite low, often represented by a triangle, we learned this in drawing school, the muscle group that starts the hips actually begin much higher up in the waist, near or even slightly above the belly button. So while we place that hip bone lower where it should be, the curvature into the hips, especially for female figures that have wider hips, starts much higher up on the torso. Drawing the torso in perspective is quite complicated. I won't go into too much detail here, but generally you want to think of it as a sort of rectangle block, cut it out of a rectangle. So think of the rectangle in proportion, and then just try to follow through with the anatomy. And finally, drawing the torso from the side. Again, we mainly follow the shape of the backbone, a nice S-curve if a person is standing up straight or if they're hunched over or whatever. Just make sure to give the collar area enough space, and then just curve things in and out through from the shoulders to the hips. I hope that helps, and keep on drawing. Practice makes the master.